everyone, welcome back to my channel. So those of you who like my book videos, you're in for a treat because I'm doing another booktubey tag thing, and it is the reading problems tag, those relatable reading problems. So I've got the questions here and we're just gonna dive right in. If you haven't already, please subscribe because I make new bookishy, lifestyle-y, culture-y videos every week, and I hope that you enjoy them. Question 1. You have 20,000 books on your TBR, to be read. How in the world do you decide what to read next? Okay, firstly, 20,000 books on your TBR, you've got a problem. Well, this is the reading problems tag. But yes, there are a lot of books on my TBR. There are multiple things that I potentially use to decide what to read next. 1, is there a TV show or movie adapted from this book coming out soon that I want to be able to watch and weigh in on the conversation? So if that is the case, then that bumps that book up higher up my list. 2, am I going to be interviewing them for a podcast episode? If that's the case, also it gets bumped up the list. Is the book written by a friend of mine and I want to show my support? Bump up the list. It really doesn't leave a lot of room to choose your own adventure when it comes to reading. I guess those are my main 3 questions that would alter the priority. And after that, it is purely just how I'm feeling, how long it's been on my TBR for, if lots of people are suddenly recommending it. After those 3 points, it then just gets a bit vague how I decide what I want to read. Okay, number 2. This is a very important question. You're halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? So I feel like I used to be committed. I used to be that person who would continue reading a book, not enjoying it, finding the whole process frustrating and draining and wishing it was over just so I could finish what I started. I am not that person anymore. I mean, it's still a work in progress. I still feel that conflict of when I'm reading a book and I'm just like, oh, maybe I just need to give it a bit more time, or oh my God, so many people really love this book and I'm just not enjoying it. What's wrong with me? Maybe I should keep going. Or just that I'm 150 pages in. There's only 250 more to go. I can do this. But no, I've gotten better at just being reading is supposed to be fun. I'm supposed to enjoy it. And if I'm not enjoying it, then I'll just put it away. I still have to have that whole conversation with myself every single time now. It's not a reflex. I would love for it to become a reflex where I'm just not enjoying it, goodbye, and I don't have that whole internal struggle. At the moment, we're having the internal struggle, but we're coming to the right conclusion in my mind. How do you feel about that? I want to know. Okay, number 3. The year is coming to an end and you're so close, but so far away on your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try and catch up, and how? I have done this before where I've read some shorter books towards the end of the year. But again, I think I'm in that place where I have the internal struggle about it. But ultimately, I'm just whatever. If I don't hit it, I don't hit it. I've never hit my reading goal. So what's there to lose? Nothing. I've never not failed at this. Maybe I'm just setting my expectations too high. But yeah, I might read a couple shorter books, or I just might dedicate a bit more time to reading. I do quite like that final sprint, but I use that final sprint to get as close to the goal as possible. Never hit it. But as this question mentioned Goodreads, I want to tell you about Storygraph. This is not sponsored by Storygraph. It is a new platform that I discovered, actually thanks to my assistant Megan, who found it and let me know about it. It is a place to review books, add to your TBR, get data, a lot of data on the types of books that you like and that you read. You can import your Goodreads data from it. It is not owned by Amazon. It was founded by a Black woman, and this is my favorite thing about it. It has the option to say did not finish. This is the one thing that really frustrates me about Goodreads is I'll add something that I'm currently reading and then I decide I'm not going to finish it and I have to delete it from my shelves. There's no way to be like, I gave up on it, whatever, I didn't finish it. But this one does. I'll leave a link to my profile on Storygraph so you can go follow me there. It's in beta still, so a lot of stuff is obviously in development and a bit slow, but it's an alternative to Goodreads if Goodreads frustrates you in any way. That's a reading problem, the love-hate relationship with Goodreads. Well, now that problem is solved. Again, not Spawn, but I just want to recommend this to you. Number 4, the covers of a series you love do not match. How do you cope? Oh, do the spines match? Because that's the main bit that I see. So it really depends on the series for me. If it is a series that I'm going to keep on my shelf for life, then I don't know, because I have like a connection to the copies of the books that I read, but then I might also like buy the ones that match the set. This actually isn't a problem that I currently have, so I don't know how I would act in this situation. The only series that I've kept and that I currently have on my shelf, I've got all of the matching covers to, so I don't know. Number 5, everyone and their mother loves a book you really don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? Oh, I actually think the first point of call for me would be going to the Common Room Discord server, which is the private Discord server for my patrons. And there's a whole thread in there for books. And so I would go in there and just be like, hey guys, anyone read this and not like it? Can we talk about that? That would be like the first place that I would go. And then after that, I think I would go to Lena. Sometimes we have similar opinions on books that we both don't like, that it has happened before where we have mutually bonded over a dislike for a book that everyone else seems to love. So I would try her. And then a friend of mine from home called Jess, who is a big reader, and she tends to read a lot of different books to the ones that I'm always seeing like recommended in BookTube and like my internet friends. So I can always count on her to kind of have maybe a different opinion as well. Number 6, this one is a problem that I have a lot. You're reading a book and you're about to start crying in public. How do you deal? I deal by just like trying to hold it in as much as possible, but also not being too bothered if some tears come out. What I do try and do is make it a silent cry. A silent cry. I was listening to Daisy Jones and the Six, and that final line, like the final chapter, like the right at the end, it like happened just as I was stepping off a bus, and I like stepped off the bus and just broke, and I had like a 7-minute walk back home, and that entire walk, it was just like tears streaming down my face, and the book was over, like, but it was just like that moment, it just like, it hit me, and I was just like, bleh, just walking home. Yeah, that happens a lot. I would say I cry on planes when I read books as well. Yeah, I deal with it with the silent tears streaming down face. That's my go-to. Number 7, a sequel of a book you loved just came out, but you've forgotten a lot from the prior novel. Will you reread the book? Skip the sequel? Try to find a synopsis on Goodreads? Cry in frustration. Right. So I'm going to apply this question to A Song of Ice and Fire, and the next book, whoever knows when it's going to come out, Winds of Winter. Is that what it's even called? I've like forgotten. The 6th book. I've read A Song of Ice and Fire, all of the books that are currently available, but because I've also watched the TV show, Game of Thrones, I am very confused about where characters are, who's who, because a lot of characters and plots are merged in the TV show, and obviously a lot of stuff is very different and like further along. So I think when Winds of Winter comes out, my strategy is not going to be to reread them. That's just too much effort. They're too big. They're so long. No, not going to do that. What I am going to do is hope that somebody else does and makes a video or an article or whatever, but video would be my preferred format of learning. Please someone make this for me, which is basically just a summary. So before, and I'm sure someone will do this, but before Winds of Winter comes out, I'm sure that there will be videos of people being like, forgotten everything that happens in A Song of Ice and Fire, here is your catch-up summary. Here is the map. This is where this character is here. This is what is currently happening over here. This is what we currently know about X, Y, and Z. So that's my strategy, hoping that somebody else does the work for me. If not, I will just read a synopsis of every single book. Number 8, you do not want anyone borrowing your books. How do you politely tell people nope when they ask? Okay, so this isn't me though. I don't really care about people borrowing my books. In fact, where is it? I have my library book where I have put in here the names of people who borrowed books from me, and then I cross them off when they give it back. So my sister currently has my copy of Am I Normal Yet and A Long Way Down. So yes, this is the Hannah Witton's library. Book who? And then that's it. It doesn't have dates in it. We don't care about dates. But as long as I know where all of my books are, we're good. However, I probably would be a bit more reluctant to let someone borrow a book that has a bit more of a sentimental meaning to it. Like, no one is taking my copies of Harry Potter. No one is doing that because I cannot risk losing them. But I think that's understandable. I think that's fine. And I would just explain that to somebody, although who's really going to be wanting to borrow my copies now? Anyway, let me think. If someone wants to borrow a book of mine that I really don't want to borrow and I really don't want to part with, I think I would just explain to them like how important that book is to me and how devastated I would be if anything were to happen to that book, in the hopes that they would then go, oh yeah, no, not worth the responsibility. I'll find another source, you know? Just like put so much pressure on them that they're like, not worth it. Number 9, reading, does this say ADD or just add in capital letters? I'm assuming reading ADD. Although I don't want to be diagnosing myself or anyone with ADD who doesn't actually have ADD. Anyway, you've picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? Good question. I would try and pick up a book that is very different to the 5 that I've picked up and put down. Like, what's the pattern there? Why haven't I been enjoying those books? Why haven't I been able to read them and finish them? Like, what's going on there? And like dive in a little deeper into, is it got anything to do with my current mood or mental health state? Or is it to do with the books themselves and the genre or whatever it is? So I try and find out why and then go from there and figure out how I can get out of the reading slump. I always find that reading slumps are just a natural part of being a reader, and they come and they go, and you can't necessarily force your way out of them because that's just never fun. They're like really difficult, like trying really hard, like it'll just happen. And you just kind of have to like sit back and just be like, it'll happen at some point. I think just keep picking up books. Keep picking up books and one of them will stick. Number 10, there are so many new books coming out that you're dying to read. How many do you actually buy? So I am getting a bit better at this. I used to just buy them all. I'd be like, oh my God, all of these new books, I'm going to buy them. Whereas now I stick them on a TBR and then I'm trying to only really buy a book if I am then about to read it. This is not a perfect system, and by no means is this actually what I'm doing. It's just what I intend to do. But it's with the same way that I'm like using the library as well. It's like, oh, I want to read this book. Like right now, this is the next book that I want to read. I'm going to go rent it from the library. I'm trying to get better at buying a book if that's going to be my next book. Because if anything, it just like makes me feel worse buying books and then them sitting on my shelves and doing nothing. Whereas I can still keep track of all of the books that are coming out that I want to read by sticking them on a TBR. And then when I'm like, I fancy something new, like nothing on my shelf is like taking my fancy right now, I can have a look and be like, that one. Number 11, after you've bought the new books you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you get to them? Well, yeah. I mean, how long is a piece of string? Sometimes I get to it immediately. As soon as it arrives, I'm like, I'm reading this. Other times, I've had books sit on my shelf for years. years and years. So it really varies. But one of the things I'm trying to do with new books that I acquire is shortening that time. I don't think it's necessary to like set a SMART goal here, but if I were to set a SMART goal here, I would try and make sure that I had no books, new books. Old books that I've already purchased and have been sitting on my shelf for years, they're fine. They don't count in this. But new ones, I wouldn't want them sitting there for over a year without being read. Or at least attempted to read. Does that make sense? All right, that is all of the questions. I'm going to leave the questions in the description and also the original reader problems tag for you to check out, and you can answer the questions yourselves in the comments. Please like this video if you enjoyed this tag, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!